It's Thursday, that point in the week where the rush begins to slow. But the questions we've been carrying still demand answers. On Jasiri, Thursdays are not just another day. It's an opportunity to pause, reflect, and have the kind of conversations that challenge how we think and how we live. All week long, the headlines move very fast: politics, policies, social issues, culture. But beneath these headlines are real people, real consequences, and real stories. So we continue to go beyond the surface. We unpack context, we examine impact, and most importantly, we ask what it really means to you at home, at work, in your relationships, and in your community. We are not just here to talk, we're here to understand, to question, and sometimes to confront uncomfortable truths. So wherever you're joining us from, settle in, engage with us, think with us, because this is more than a program. It is a conversation. So let's begin.
And don't forget that you can join all of our conversations on social media. Of course, we are at News Central TV. And you can also be part of the conversation via the WhatsApp number on your screen. Now, as we get into it very quickly, because we do have a guest standing by, in a now viral video, Laura Ikeji has expressed her frustration about the rising cost of doing business in Nigeria. She revealed that two shops she previously rented for 3 million and 4 million naira have now skyrocketed to 6 million and 30 million naira respectively. And she's also appealing to Governor Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State to do something about this frustrating cost of running business in Lagos. Let's hear what she had to say.
Of Lagos State, we, the Business Women Association of Lagos State, whether we are founders, whether we are owners of, small businesses, we are frustrated. I am frustrated. I pay over 15 million naira for stores, two stores. One is over 30 and then one is over 16 million naira. And I want to tell you that these stores, when I rented them, they were 4 million and 3 million naira. No, I did not rent them as 5 million. They were 4 million and 3 million naira. My store went from 4 million to 8 million, from 8 million to 13 million, from 13 million naira to 16 million naira currently. And the other one went from 3 million to 8 million, from 8 million to 16 million, from 16 million, now I pay 30 million naira as rent. I can't cope. And this is from somebody who actually makes money outside business. I make money from influence and I can't cope. It's not making sense. So Governor Sanwo-Olu, what my suggestion would be is, you gotta create a department where businesses in Lagos State, you can call me, businesses in Lagos State can be funded, because the way we are looking at it, you will not have any business in Lagos soon, because a lot of people would have to move out of Lagos. It is so bad. Things are so bad, and this is coming from somebody who makes money outside business. Things are so bad. So I'm thinking maybe you will get a department somewhere that can start funding businesses that cannot cope, businesses that are collapsing every single day, businesses are dying, people are packing up every single day. You gotta have a department that can fund these businesses when things are so bad. I don't understand how somebody will pay rent, 4 million naira rent, and from 4 million naira to 16 million naira. It makes absolutely no sense. Since you have refused to regulate the rent in Lagos, maybe you should start giving us money for business. What do you think? You think it's a good idea, ba? For one, me, I don't think I'll be able to pay 30 million naira by next year, because it won't make any sense. It's either I build my own place if I have enough money, or I just, take that business on. So do something.
And that is what we are hearing from Laura Ikeji. And of course, there are a lot of people who are in comments who have, of course, confirmed what she's saying. But I'm just, my head is not doing the math. 30 million for one space in Lagos. How much are you supposed to make? How are you supposed? And this is also the fact that, remember, we're having light issues.
Yes.
So you're still going to fuel. You're still going to pay salaries. Yeah. You're still going to pay probably any other attendant,
our shop is in
tax or whatever. Water. How much money are you supposed supposed to make to even come close to breaking even?
Honestly, if I was just discussing with some people some days ago, or maybe our driver in the office, you know, because of how exorbitant rent has become, some of them are, he's telling me he wants to go and rent Paco. So some people are probably building like little shacks where people can just rent and stay in, because the cost of living or renting spaces, it's so much, and it's spanning across areas, especially if you want to live in some certain areas. Those that live around Lekki 1, their rent is astronomical, and at the same time they have water issues. Imagine paying 11 million for a duplex, and now you have to still buy water
filtration system.
My friend used to use it. She said it became impossible. She lives in Agungi, and it's their house. She said they had to resort to buying water because it was cost effective. He said because if they add the money of, you know, constantly filtering their water with light, they said it was beyond them.
Yeah.
So if this is everybody's reality in Lagos, how do they I saw a comedy yesterday I posted on my show, on my status. Tolu was so funny. I wish I'd given them in FCI, they would have played it. The landlord and the agent and the prospective client were coming to say, you see the house, beautiful, high ceiling, there, you know, there's cross ventilation, good area, you know, the rent is 9 million, but by the time you pay every other, you know, agency, this and that, it will come to 11 million, and they don't want Yahoo boys, they don't want people that have questionable business, they want a hard-working civil servant.
Working civil servant.
Okay, you know, it took a while for me to get where I was going. You know, I want your like, do you know, as the guy said it, the two of them, the agent and the guy, they started laughing together. I said, where do you want to see
a hardworking civil
a
servant
legitimate hardworking?
I'm sorry, they always say that. It just reminded me of a friend of mine who tried to get like a space, not even as big as the makeup room, right?
Our makeup room.
Yes.
Yes.
She charged 4 million naira. And I'm talking about around Ogba here. Yeah, and there are shops just around here that charge 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, and they're not too big compared to the makeup room, and it's ridiculous. We're not even talking about housing yet, like where you live, right? Where you see a 2-bedroom flat, you know, for like millions of naira, that's 4 million or even 5 or so. Here on the mainland, it's becoming really,
I saw a recent
really
video
ridiculous.
where there was a pit latrine in the middle of the room.
Of the room, yeah.
And that is what they are selling,
it's
renting.
self-contained.
And I'm thinking to myself, I always ask myself one question: where is town planning? Where are who approves these buildings to be supposedly hospitable or be habitable for people? But beyond that, did we not spend a lot of time last year talking about rent? Because the Lagos State House of Assembly said they were doing some law. The governor came out and said that we had a conversation about that they were going to work to protect tenants' rights and also to protect landlords' rights, because it's not just a one-way traffic.
But also agents are meant to just collect 5%.
And then no, they said agents are also going to have to be part of like an official registry, so you can go and check who's a real agent.
That was
but
in
where is the
December.
movement of it? It was not in December. We talked about it in December, but it's been a conversation
during the year.
The whole. So where is the movement? Where is the update?
So look,
where is the protection?
You know, what's the name? Is it a cabana? Like if you have like a big house and you have somewhere you just going to chill, one small space. I saw a video of the landlord revamping that cabana
to make it
a one.
I think also because we accept all sorts of things, and like I say,
you don't
on this table, we are a government unto ourselves. We are a government unto ourselves, so we adapt. This is what is offered to you. You adapt. You're looking for a house. Your budget is 800K.
Yeah.
You say you see a house you like, they tell you it's 1.2 M. You say it's out of my budget, so you adapt. So you are given a house of 800K, which is a room self-contained, whether your toilet is in front or behind your house, it is self-contained, and you adapt because that's what you can afford. That's why nowadays, if you talk of business, I don't know whether there's a different regulation or different rule covering businesses that don't cover homes. Residential and business.
Commercial business.
No, but Lagos has always.
I'm seeing that a lot of people decide that they want to online store.
Yeah.
Their stores are online, and you don't blame
And
them
we are
because of
susceptible
things
to
like this.
scam.
Do you know?
Because sometimes you are looking for physical
There's
space
that.
Yeah.
for those shops.
Listen, somebody like Laura Ikeji, who is a name, so
Yes,
people know
a
her.
brand.
If she's screaming about 30 million, I'm sure people in the comment section will be people saying that, Madam, you even try. You see 30 million pay for.
So
for
Lagos
shop.
has a
This is
tenancy
minus.
law that came
Your
into
house rent.
effect from the time that Babatunde
don't tell me. Of
Fashola
course,
was
that
here.
tenancy,
And
yeah.
again, we spoke about it that in terms of tenants knowing that they have rights, and also even landlords, because again, I'll say it is a two-way street. There are horrible tenants.
Yeah.
There are horrible
know.
tenants and there are horrible landlords.
Yep.
The one that I saw, she's talking business. One guy shared the letter that the lawyer sent to him that his rent of 900,000 is going to 1.6 million. But when did they send it to him? 3 weeks before his rent expired. And they labeled it, they said notice of increase or quit notice.
Yeah.
So it's either you take it or you
you
quit.
leave.
But that guy can actually take them to court because you're supposed to give, I think it's about 6
Yes,
months.
6 months.
You're supposed to give
Yeah,
6 months notice to increase rent, and they can maintain the status quo until him and the landlord work it out. A lot of people don't know their rights.
see
They're
the thing.
unable.
You see, the thing is,
No, we have to start doing these
but people are
things.
going to say, okay, I'm spending so much time in litigation, I'm spending so much money. In the end, is it worth
I
it?
will still
We
go.
are
It can be worth
practical
it.
people. When we say, they'll say, why would I tie my money there? Like I say, adapting. We do that a lot, knowingly and unknowingly.
actually the huge problem.
I beg, I don't want
Yes.
to.
But let me also
Just
tell
do
you,
it.
that guy will likely scramble to pay the money, to pay the 1.6. Why? Because if he leaks that place, he's
get
going to pay
another-
more
you
than
pay
1.6
agency for
outside.
new
So they
movement.
themselves even know the prevailing
Yeah.
environment and they're taking
they do that.
advantage
I'm sorry,
of
listen,
it.
I'm going to use myself as an example. So I'm in this situation right now, and you know,
Which
a lot.
situation?
The situation where you have to, you know, rent has
Up
been
your
increased.
rent or-
yes,
Yeah.
and I know a few other people, you know, who work here, who are
Who
going
has
through this, who are
experienced
even
that.
thinking of moving away from the mainland,
Blessings
going to
revamped
somewhere,
her house,
going to
and she had to
somewhere. So going to somewhere
how much
like
of that is
probably
going around?
out of, you know, the city. A lot of people, we talked about Magboro the other day,
Yeah.
a lot of people that I know have moved there because it is a lot cheaper for them, and it is in Ogun State, right? But the proximity to work is not so
Yeah,
bad.
it's not so bad.
Okay? So now, a lot of people also feel that, oh, rather than just leave and then you have to go and pay caution fee, agent fee, and all that with, you know, a high amount
me just
of
scramble.
rent. Let me just manage and scramble and stay. And this is actually going on even in Computer Village. You see the shops? You see the
Computer
shops?
Village even has
They're
a
even
lot
saying
of-
that they're going to protest. I know someone who actually has a shop there. He said his rent was increased by 100% from 1.5 to 3 million. Like,
And
who does
landlords
that?
are saying they're citing the prevailing economic situation, inflation, and all that. And the last thing I want to say on this, we're all it's touching everybody.
Yeah.
And we all need to find a way to pressure. What are the people in the Lagos State House of Assembly doing? It is not enough for you to tell us you're going to work on it. Has the work not finished 6 months later? Have you not, is the bill not ready? Is it not time for consultation with the public? We need to move this forward because we're pushing Lagosians, we're pushing Nigerians to, and you're clearing people out. I'm not saying that all those people that the Commissioner of Environment, Okunbo Wahab, are clearing out should not be cleared out. But there's a level
not
of which
sifting.
you are
Yes.
also adding on to the pressure on the city and on the state.
Yeah.
We need to find a way around this.
Honestly.
Dashin.
All right, now, sexual and gender-based violence is one of Nigeria's most hidden crises, happening in homes, schools, you know, places of worship and communities that we trust. 1 in 3 Nigerian girls will experience sexual abuse before the age of 18. And 6 out of every 10 Nigerian children experience some form of violence, and most never get help. So many are abused by people they know inside homes meant to protect them. Why is this violence still so widespread? What must change urgently to protect survivors and prevent abuse? After the break on Jasiri, Debby Charles, supervisory admin, Gnosis Volunteer Network, joins us to look at hidden in plain sight, the crisis of sexual violence in Nigeria. Stay with us.
Like Darshan said before the break, sexual and gender-based violence, including child sexual abuse, remains one of the most pervasive and devastating human rights violations in the country today. It cuts across gender, age, class, religion, and geography, yet it's often shrouded in silence, stigma, denial, and fear. So, recent data shows a worsening reality. 1 in 3 girls in Nigeria will experience sexual abuse before the age of 18, with girls between 16 and 19 up to 4 times more likely than the general population to be victims of rape or sexual violence. Now, even more troubling, nearly 90% of child survivors know their abusers, and in many cases, the abuse happens inside the home, the very place meant to offer protection. Sexual and gender-based violence is not just about physical harm. It leaves deep psychological, emotional, social, and economic scars, from trauma and depression to substance abuse, broken trust, and lifelong health consequences. Yet, despite the scale of the problem, fewer than 5 out of every 100 child survivors receive any form of support. Sexual and gender-based violence is often discussed in headlines, but rarely understood in its full complexity. This includes rape, sexual assault, defilement, domestic abuse, emotional abuse, harmful traditional practices, and neglect, especially against women and children. So, this is a conversation Nigeria cannot and must not run away from. Our guest is the supervisory admin, Gnosis Volunteer Network, Debby Charles. She's with us on the table today. Welcome to Jasiri, Debby.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
We have a lot to get into in limited time as always. So while statistics give us numbers, they often fail to capture the everyday reality survivors live with long after the abuse ends. In Nigeria, violence against children and women is deeply rooted in social norms, silence, and power imbalance. To address SGBV meaningfully, we must first understand its true scale, patterns, and drivers. So Debby, let's start from there. When we talk about sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria, what forms are most prevalent today, especially against women and children?
Wow, it's a menace that we have to speak up against. We have rape, we have child sexual abuse, where they rape children that they are not even up to. The recent case we had a case of a 2-year-old. A 2-year-old. The child is just about getting to 2-year-old next week or so. The mother went downstairs to dry clothes. She was washing on the hanger. And then before you know it, a tenant rushes downstairs, pick up the child upstairs. In real life situation.
And locks themselves
Picked up the child.
Yes.
To do what?
You know, in this face, may I slap you?
Yeah.
So the mother is good. Let's go and hang our clothes. I finished washing. She goes out to hang the clothes with the child following. She's not up to 2. And then somebody from upstairs comes down, pick the child and run. And the woman calls the husband. She runs up to follow the man to the room. He's already done something to the child. With his finger. With his finger, he has already done something to the child. So the father had to call Barrister Olumide, my boss, and he directed him on what to do. Barrister Olumide directed him on what to do. You know, he's been arrested. In real life.
And you know,
real life situation.
when you think you have heard, we need more volume, ma, because you. I would think I've heard everything. Then you hear another story, and it's your mind was struggling to.
Exactly. So we've said rape, we've said child sexual abuse. What else?
These perpetrators, they are also groomers. They are those ones who wait. They actually groom the child in presence of the parents. Those are the uncles that say, go and buy something for me. Mama, see your child is a bad child. I sent her, he or she refused to go. They are looking for something. They are trying to groom that child. And most parents, they don't know. Why didn't you go?
Because it's cultural.
Yes. Yeah. They don't know. Uncle sent you, refused to go. Don't you know you have to obey your elders and all of that? They are pushing the child unknowingly to what will kill them.
Wow. You know, when I knew what we're talking about today, I was a bit vulnerable. I already had a very heavy night into the morning, and I just kept musing, you know, over the things that we have discussed before now. Is there a reason that research and data show that, you know, girls between the ages of 0 to 5, 9 to 14, and 16 to 19 are particularly vulnerable to sexual abuse? Because if I'm looking at 0 to 5, I'm going to say that's baby stage. That for us mothers, that's between your toddler stage to preschool age. Then between 9 and 14, that's when puberty, the onset of puberty. Then maybe 16 to 19, you say young adult. They're just coming to terms with their gender, with their bodies. Why are these ages especially susceptible?
Because sometimes the parents, because of the hustle and bustle of life, Lagos, trying to make ends meet, they'll say, stay with your uncle, stay with a neighbor, stay with the house help, stay with this person and that person, and not knowing that they are actually giving them up as a sacrifice.
Wow.
It's terrible.
So
it's terrible. That's the menace we are facing.
All right, now, how do social norms, around discipline, gender roles, and silence contribute to the persistence of gender-based violence?
Wow. Abuse thrives in silence, where people are afraid to speak up. They don't want to be shamed, right? For example, married women, they don't want people to talk about it like, in your home, you people don't stay. Your sisters, they did not stay. You two, you're going to come out very soon. So that shame makes them remain in abuse, which is not supposed to be. That is why we are having Ikorodu ADD. We are facing Ikorodu because what we hear and see from that end, it's terrible.
It's an enclosed area.
So you have to, you can't say it's just terrible. You have to tell it. Because it's specific.
Which day did we hear on the
We had
I was about to get to it because when we were speaking to our correspondent that is covering the event even today, and we were there yesterday.
Okay.
He was saying that Barrister had the data for Lagos and how prevalent certain types of abuse are in certain areas. In Alimasho, he said that's the highest place for incest. I can't, I'm struggling with that. Not the fact that it's happening, but just that there's a place where it happens most. And I need us to find a way to figure out why Alimasho has such a high prevalence of incest. But what is happening in Ikorodu?
Ikorodu, we're starting from Ikorodu. From Ikorodu, we're moving on to Alimasho. And then other places like that are vulnerable. Ikorodu, that is where we have the highest traffic of humans. It's also, we feel that getting to them first will make the awareness greater.
Say that again. Traffic in what?
In what?
Please, just to be, let's understand.
No,
it.
because
Madam,
you're so soft.
And it's almost as well, I should put my ear in your mouth.
It's overwhelming. It's horrendous what we have to go through. Sometimes you hear things and you want to eat, you cannot eat your food. Okay, you're done for the day and then your phone rings. You have to get up. Somebody is killing somebody just did it to that person, and you have to attend to it.
So human trafficking is the highest prevalent,
rape, spousal abuse. Now, somebody said yesterday while we were at the program, a lady said, are they still beating? I don't think husbands are still beating wives. So I said they are not beating, they are now killing.
They're killing.
They are now killing. Before you know it, somebody has taken something and hit the other person on the head. Yesterday, right there, a woman came to meet us that the husband beat her the night before. The husband beat her the night before, and we saw the broom particles in her head.
Yeah. What?
Broom particles that he used to beat the wife. So the ambulance that we wanted to use for victims in case we had to use it to take her to the police station.
But I'm going to ask a question. I want you to think about it before we come back, because we'll have these conversations. I will read every story on social media. There are some fantastic women's organizations I follow, but women struggle to leave.
Because of
the same woman you took to the hospital.
We'll go right back after treatment.
Let's take a break. This conversation will continue in just a moment. Do stay with us.
All right, welcome back to Jasiri. We are talking about gender-based violence. So my question, Debbie is still with us. You should have heard all the questions that went on break, all the questions, everybody firing from all cylinders. But let me ask you, Debs.
You're giving her a new nickname.
Debbie, sorry. Man, we have so many questions that we have to struggle to stay on the timeline that we have, so we don't mess, we don't confound a lot of things along the way. But let me ask you this. Why is it significant that perpetrators, like, how do you like, most survivors know they are perpetrators? People who, it questions safety, ne? It questions safety within the space that you are. What does it say about that? So there's no safety anywhere. Exactly. There's no safety. The home should be at least. 2 days ago, or yesterday, we're struggling to wrap our heads around the incest, the rate of incest. In Alimosho, it's here. So now you're talking about Ikorodu, and you're opening up this page of spousal abuse. That is high. So perpetrators and then survivors and then safety. Why is safety that questionable? Why can't we be safe in our spaces?
Because we are not watching each other, and we are just being careless. We are just concerned about the money we're making. We don't really care about our children. We just feel they will survive anyhow. That is what I say about most parents. They feel children will just survive anyhow. Whatever happens, just calm down, keep it in the family. Nobody would hear. Maybe the child will grow and our body will be fine.
Okay.
They forget about it.
Their minds.
Forget about it.
But why would anybody? But now I just want to, because now we can see that from evidence and research that people don't survive well from abuse. They carry the trauma and it affects every other thing in their lives. Many people were still talking about FGM some days ago, thinking that it's going to curb promiscuity. But you find out that none of these things really do those things they say it does. Is it that we are not, the people that should be educated are not being educated, even with all this advocacy all around?
We are trying our best, and we say we reach each one at a time, and then that's why we are creating this awareness. That is why we are creating awareness, because we've always been reactive. When it happens, they bring the case to us, we attend to it, but now we are going to meet them.
But how has the response been creating awareness? Listen, it's a cycle.
Awesome.
If you abuse early, for example, if you're abused early, some people might say, number one, village people, or maybe something in the family, the devil. But does it translate into, we have kids on the streets who are into all sorts of survival.
Yes, we do.
Does that translate? I'm just asking. This is this is like I said. We're trying to stay with the script, but following what Lolo asked you, does that help? You're raising awareness, but what's the response been like? If everybody wants to keep it shrouded, keep it under wraps, like how?
All right, the response has been awesome. At least now they know that they can speak up. They should speak up, because they're always afraid. What will my neighbor say? How will I go about it?
When you
people will shame me. They don't
think. Do they listen to the kids when they tell you, I don't want to go to? They really don't.
They listen to tradition.
I don't want to go to.
Like Barrister will say, they are listening to the voice of the dead.
What did I say?
We are being held hostage by our dead ancestors.
Yes, that is what they are doing. So we are trying. Like a saying goes, if each one could reach each one could teach each one. So now we are reaching each one to teach each one to be safe against domestic abuse. At least if we are living in a compound, like I am a Gnosis Volunteer Network, I've been trained, I know what it means, I talk to my neighbor, I have created awareness in my environment. At least before Mr. Peter beats his wife, he will know that,
someone has
my wife is now aware. My wife is now aware, because some of them also, when their partners, their spouses are not enlightened about these things, they would, use that as an advantage against them.
I'm going to hold this thing against Dashin, because that thing she sent me, I've never heard such wickedness in my life. And I need to share. So you saw I just saw it now, and I need to share because of the context of the conversation we're having. Jeez, so a 7-year-old girl was... a 7-year-old girl was taken. Her mother is a nurse, and she went to work, and she left the 7-year-old in the company of the aunt, who was married to the landlord where they stayed. This man took this child, and not only did he rape her, he poured cement in her mouth.
So she won't talk.
So when he strangled her, his fingerprints were embedded because of the cement. Her uterus was gone, and the only thing you can find was you could only see her spinal cord. Then he washed her
It was,
and put her in front of her family's
washed her
door.
in a bucket.
Is it that she died?
She's
course she died.
And he put her in front of her family's doorstep. He only got 25 years to life. Sentenced 25 years. He escaped custody, was threatening the mother. And when you hear these stories, so, because I'm asking, because you made a comment that some people will think, okay, the child will forget. I told you about the young lady on social media whose uncle said he apologized to her parents, and that now that she's speaking about it, she's trying to ruin his life. So, Debbie, I want us to be very, very specific and very audible about how early childhood abuse can increase the likelihood of future criminal behavior, mental health challenges, substance abuse, promiscuity, depression, attempts at suicide. It is not something children forget. And there's, I can't remember the name of somebody's book. The body keeps score. The body remembers. What have you been seeing, particularly with survivors of childhood abuse, and how, unfortunately, their lives have turned out?
They need a whole lot. They need therapy. This is not about church. Do 7 days dry fasting, 3 days fasting. It's not about that, because they have been hurt and they will go on hurting others. One, their mindset will be, I want to revenge. My mom didn't listen to me, my dad didn't listen to me, so I'm just on my own. Some of them run away from homes. That's why I see them on the streets. And then they start abusing other children. That's where the criminal behavior will come in. Because of stealing, they'll start stealing, abusing drugs and all whatnot. So that is why we are speaking up against, and we are also telling our neighbors, our friends, families, associates, stand up, speak up against domestic violence and abuse. Be there for one another in your environments, wherever you are. Let them know these things. Those that have not heard, let them hear. Let them know that they can get help, that they can speak up, and nothing will happen to them. Because the perpetrators also always,
bank on the silence and the shame that is not for the survivor. You remember, I believe it's Tayo. We spoke to a gentleman last year who was a survivor of childhood abuse at 6. And as Tayo, and as he grew, he started becoming a perpetrator. And he spoke about the fact that he doesn't know what it is, but something just changed him. Because by the time he was in his teens, he was then also becoming a predator to other young children. And I think many of us miss that. We miss the fact that if you stay for these children, girls are more likely to become victims in an abusive relationship as they grow. Boys are more likely to become perpetrators of abuse. The children you say you're staying from or staying for are the children you're still putting in danger. And even the women who stay, who struggle. But even the data shows us that up to 7 times before a woman is successful in actually leaving an abusive relationship. So I want to ask you about what happens when the trauma is not hidden, in terms of even the signs that parents fail to recognize. Let's move the conversation forward. Why do so many parents fail to recognize the signs? Is it because we're so trusting? Or is it because we don't know the signs to recognize? Or is it because we think children, Kojel, he's not eating for 5 days, or anytime this uncle or auntie comes, let's also say women are also capable of these things. Oh, you don't want to talk to them. Why are you in your room when this person is around? We force them into engagement with some of these people who make them uncomfortable. Why are we failing to recognize the signs, and what are the signs we should be looking for?
So parents need to be more closer to their children, like more discerning, right? Because
More discerning is the word.
training children, bringing them up, you don't just do it as if you're going to the shop to buy something. It's a wholesome activity. It takes a lot. From right when they are in your tummy, when they come out, you have to be there for them on 100, not on a 50, not on a 30. It has to be on 100. All right? And then some parents who, they've not gotten the information. They don't know. Ignorance. Some of them also, the work kind of a thing, takes over the time for them to take care of the children. But then those signs that the children bring up that you see, you should not, close eyes to them. For example, sometimes a child who has been up and about suddenly becomes quiet. And you say, what's your problem? You don't have to go to work. I can't stay with you at home. What's wrong with you? Eat some food though. Don't want to eat. Don't want to go to school. I'll go and keep you with your uncle, or I'll go and keep you with your teacher. And they do that. And the child, you see, in his or her mind, you see.
You've handed me over.
You see now. Is he sending me there again?
Or a child who's not normally clingy, all of a sudden becomes very, very clingy.
Sending the child to the groomers, the perpetrators, So We have a lot to do, especially for those innocent children. They are just growing on their own. Okay, mommy does not have my time, daddy does not have my time.
So
I'm just left alone.
So they're vulnerable.
They try to survive on their own. And then when it happens the first time, the second time, my mommy will not even do anything. Let me just be.
Oh, they won't listen.
Right, but how do law enforcement and the justice system unintentionally, I say unintentionally because it's easy to brush off some of these things and say, you self, you're doing too much. Are you not strong enough? You self, snap out of it or do something, do this and move on.
I remember when we took someone to the station. So the madam said, you don't come again. Only you every time. I beg, they go your house. They go.
Talking to who? You?
The victim. You don't come again. They go, I beg, every time. So, me, I get my own wahala.
See, so that's what I'm looking. You re-traumatize these survivors. How does that happen, and how frequently do things like these happen?
But I thought Lagos State said they had gender desks that were meant specifically
they have. Some people don't
issue.
know. Yes, that's why we are raising this awareness. People don't know. I don't want to go to police or anything police. It's a problem. I don't know. I don't know how they will see it. So I don't want to go. So that is why we are raising this awareness that you can easily walk into a station, ask for the gender units, gender decks. They will attend to you. It's as easy as that. So when we talk to them, are you sure they're not going to ask for money? What about this? What about that? So we educate them, to seek for justice.
Yeah. Aside from law enforcement and the justice system generally, we must also look into those who seems to have, the most sway beyond the family. Because there are many people that people respect, like traditional and cultural leaders, as well as religious leaders. And even Auntie Adugbo, Uncle Adugbo.
Yes.
Because in this, I would say those are very necessary. Because like areas like Moshi, Ali Moshi, you know that there's just one singular individual in the community that people defer to out of respect. Is it not time that we need to engage such people in this advocacy and and fights?
And in the engagement you've been having, what has been the feedback from traditional rulers, cultural custodians, religious leaders as well? Because a lot of them are the ones sending women back, sending children back. We're telling children not to lie against adults. That this upstanding gentleman can never do something like that. They're the ones who reinforce.
Now they now know. In fact, yesterday at our program, the ballet, they know. They know now. They know. They are those of them who are in the know. They are helping out also. They work with us. In fact, they have our numbers however it happens. They just call us. Then
because
we go attend to them.
I tell people, I said, listen, I tell people, anybody who cares. So listen, I believe my children over anybody, like anything. And so I lay on that premise and I tell the kids, don't lie to me. Because I will carry your matter from Jericho to Jerusalem. Exactly. Because I'm doing in my own way, I'm doing my own part. Yes. Because it's easy to just shush children and say, you safe. Come over here. If I take my slippers, and we dismiss that. I don't like how this uncle is looking at me. You're looking at you. Exactly. So we dismiss that. And before you know it, some children shut down.
Yes.
They shut down.
Yes.
All right. So I never expected this conversation to be this deep, honestly. But then we know that in as much as there's so many people coming out now to complain or report cases of sexual violence, there's still a lot of them, that are underreported. So how does stigma, especially around sexual violence, discourage reporting and also justice?
It does, because like you said, they feel that, listen to me, I am on my own. But we are trying our best in education. That is why we are creating the awareness.
Because you talked about traditional rulers, and I think I've actually mentioned this before, because when I was covering a case was it in Kaduna? I'm not really sure, but then, this man, a neighbor, raped his neighbor's daughter, and then they took it to traditional ruler, and traditional ruler was like, let's keep it hush-hush. How much do you want us to pay you? So we never covered this up.
How much can you pay for a loss of innocence?
Exactly.
For a broken future?
How much?
We've not had that kind of experience. Those ones we've been meeting, they will tell us we are here. They'll even send people working with them, go and spread this news of this awareness. It must not happen again in our environment. So we've been recording success.
That's good to know.
We're recording success.
We have bills to pay, and we can see the program that you've been holding in Ikorodu, and as you said, you're moving from Ikorodu to Alimasho and other places. And I'll ask you a question about location in just a moment. But before that, beyond outrage and statistics, we need to really see how we can make a difference. This is our second conversation on this matter this week, and I don't think a month goes by that Jasiri does not have a conversation about either its sexual and gender-based violence, child abuse. Now we're dealing with technologically facilitated sexual and gender-based violence. And we continue to do the work as it is needed to raise a voice for the survivors and the victims. When we come back, the conversation continues.
Welcome back. You're still watching Jasiri. Now, very deep conversations we've been having, but ending sexual and gender-based violence requires more than laws. It requires cultural change. So how we acknowledge and confront these issues will determine how our society tolerates, excuses, or even addresses these, issues. When survivors are silenced, perpetrators are protected. I have a lot in my head. You guys have said so much. It's just...
You are the one dispensing.
I'm sorry.
She's the one who disturbed me this morning.
I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to separate what I read with this conversation.
So just what you saw this morning.
You know that video? I actually watched it on mute.
I couldn't have.
So I was reading.
I was just reading.
But...
So
I didn't get some of the things that you said.
No.
It's
just what you saw this morning, and you're behaving like this.
No, I saw another. I think I sent it to
Stop
you.
sending it to me.
The question I wanted to ask that came to me, because you talked about you're in Ikorodu now for this campaign. You guys are going to Alimasho. There is a perception that these issues only happen in poor areas, in this face me, I slap you kind of situation. And we always remember when we were on radio, we had someone who shared a story with us they had to get involved with, a man who would lock his wife in VIO, who would lock his wife up in the house. Even the security and the house help they could not interfere. One day he stripped her naked and tied her to a tree or a pole in the compound. And that was where she was from morning to evening. So anybody who was, and they had the kind of gates that wasn't a complete solid gate. So if you pass, you would out of the corner of your eye, you'd be like, what did I just see? And so even in the richest homes, the most affluent neighborhoods, I suspect it's even more hidden than it is in poor situations.
It is.
So please help us dispel that myth that it's not just an issue of poverty.
It's not just the issue of poverty, actually. They say big man, big wahala. There was a place I was working then, very close to the house, because I stayed there till weekends I go home. Every night, you hear, Uncle leave auntie, that's the housemaid. I would look at the time, 12 a.m., 2 a.m. Uncle leave auntie, you started again, no, leave her alone, no, leave, and he would lock the door. Nobody comes in, nobody goes out. So it's the poor people they are talking about, it's just the ones we are seeing and the ones we can hear. So those ones, if you really know what's happening in their homes, ask their drivers, ask their cooks,
and the cooks
and the helps. Those are the ones. It's everywhere. It's called domestic violence. It's there.
So can I ask my question now? So tell us, how powerful is storytelling, especially in shaping, attitudes towards sexual and gender-based violence?
Wow, it's very important. Storytelling is awesome when you use it to get to the children, especially in schools, in churches, in mosques, in the environment. For example, when I was teaching then, there's this child, Halima. I remembered her yesterday. We're talking about, social studies, we talk about the family, the role of the father and the mother, the children's role, Then I said something. I said, sometimes the parents, mother will say, she's going to church. The father will say he's going somewhere, and then they leave the children with maybe an uncle or someone else. She just became quiet. She was no longer answering questions. Before she was, yes, and then she just... So I watched her. That's why I said we have to be discerning. Don't just, if you're a teacher, don't just teach for teaching's sake. I've done my work, I'm gone. Watch. You know how each child behaves in your class. Watch. So she just became quiet and she didn't say anything, as if her mind was somewhere else. She was no longer in the class. So when we are done, I called her. What happened? Said I said something that is happening to her. This was like 20-something years ago. And then she opened up. Thank God she opened up. So I called the head teacher that we should get the aunt So we called the aunt to the school. We talked to her. Thank God they sent the guy away. But before then, he already
abused her.
You see, and that's the thing. Blessed children, they're so innocent with there, because that's another conversation when children open up to their teachers. And I remember when the kids were in primary, they would come and say, Auntie, my father blew my mom today. She fell on me. And the teachers would tell me, I'm like, what the heck? He said that. He said, he just came. And then a child feeds off another. So the child has said, that's true. Even me said, my mommy is the one that...
Oh, you hear your daddy did not have power. You see the way my own daddy would do it.
So you see, it becomes a larger conversation. And you, the teacher, you are at a loss.
You're caught in the middle. Which is why
they speak.
Which is why I like Lagos State. Lagos State, everybody is a mandated reporter. And so you are mandated by law to report. Just very quickly, because of time, I don't even know. At this point, I was going to legislation. I don't...
No.
It's legislations. We just need them to be enforced more.
But you have to change cultural attitudes. And the cultural attitudes date back to how we see women. How we see children. If we don't change those attitudes of where it's almost like, not almost like, where men feel that they have ownership over women and children, you can't change how they treat women and children. So if we're going to prioritize this, you're doing a campaign, what is the one thing you've learned from all the work you're doing that could be the thing, if we focus on it, if we narrow it down, if we push it and just, push it into people's head, that can change all of this?
All right, so the essence of all this is that we should see ourselves firstly as humans. Everyone is a human, whether man, woman, boy, girl, young, old, because so that the men would not want to lord it over the women, say you're a woman, this, that. No, let's see ourselves first as humans, and then let there be community vigilance. That time that there was
community that's also abusing.
No, your community, your immediate environment is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Your immediate environment.
The immediate environment in the home, it's not incest.
That thing is doing my head.
That's the awareness we are creating. That's what we're trying to create.
There is no way. Sometimes the abuse is even noticed from an outsider.
Exactly.
Not even, sometimes people that are in abusive relationships, there's a conditioning it does to their brain that they've come to accept what is happening. It's just like when I pointed to a neighbor that when your child comes from school, I don't like the fact that she brings two girls and they would just, there was just something weird.
They would just enter the room and
they'll enter, close the door. By the time they come out, they are bathed. And I know that they're just coming from school. It's just weird.
Something is happening.
But when I did report, I got a bad feedback.
I was going to say that some mother would say, what's your business inside?
What are you trying to say?
What are you trying to say?
You're trying to push words into their mouth. What is not happening? These children, they know a whole lot these days. They are with their phones. They are with their friends. When they come back from school, waiting for parents to come back, we don't know what they do. So that community vigilance is very important, and that is what we are doing.
Wow, thank you so much. Today's conversation reminds us of something deeply uncomfortable, but urgently true. Child abuse and sexual and gender-based violence is prevalent in our society. It's not distant problems, and they are very much with us. It's happening in our homes, in our families, in our communities, places where we trust. When a child is abused, it is not just a moment of harm. It is a rupture in safety, in innocence, in trust. And when the abuse is ignored, hidden, or even silenced, the damage multiplies. Survivors carry trauma into adolescence and adulthood, affecting their mental health, relationships, education, and sense of self-worth. Sexual and gender-based violence thrives on secrecy, stigma, and disbelief. It continues when we look away, when systems delay justice, and when we prioritize reputations over protection. But protection is a choice. Listening is a choice, because no one should have to choose silence to survive. I want to say thank you very much, Debby Charles, for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure.
And thank you very much for staying with us on Jasiri today. Tomorrow is Friday, and of course, it's Hot Topics Friday. Let's hope we'll have something to smile about. Bye-bye.
I'm telling you.